Ever wish you could bring your characters to life? Like, really alive? Well, I'm not really alive, I'm just you. How can you be you? I mean me, if I'm me. Touché. I made this other me, this dragon thing,
Hey.
purple guy,
Hello.
this cloud thing, this other guy,
Hey, what up?
this butt man, skull.
What's up?
And guess what? It was super easy. I drew these all in Adobe Fresco just like I normally do. Then I opened them up in Adobe Character Animator and they almost immediately started working. They were just lip syncing. I could just talk and they would copy me. Will you stop copying me? No, you stop copying me. Stop copying me. When I first messed around with this app, I could not believe how easy it was. Like, why isn't anyone talking about this? I guess it's hard for him to talk. His mouth doesn't work as easily as the others. Kind of feel bad about that. I'm sorry, Buttman. Anyway, let me show you how easy this process is. I'm even gonna include a link below so you can download one of my files so you can play around with it, make it say inappropriate things, or just use it as a structure to create your own character. This video isn't gonna go into everything that you can do in Adobe Character Animator because there's a lot, and there's a lot that I don't know yet. But this will definitely show you how to get started, and to be honest, you can do quite a lot with the bare minimum. For example, many years ago, I made this animated talk show with my pal Josh, and I used the absolute bare minimum.
You are being so rude right now. Unimaginable.
Brandon told me you some kind of celebrity judge or something like that. I thought I was in trouble, brother.
Jets, are you coming from inside the computer, or they didn't really explain?
There's so many features that are in Adobe Character Animator right now that I didn't even know about. I didn't use any of them. This was bare bones. Just making the thing, doing the lip sync, and a little bit of wiggle wobble. Let's get into it. So instead of watching a bunch of tutorials and learning about the structure and how to set everything up, what I did was just download one of the sample files and then replace everything on those files with my own illustrations. This immediately got me working and had a character that was moving around. And then from there, I was able to like look up specific things. And this was an easier process for me to learn how it all works. If you want to do the same thing, it's very simple. All you do is open up Adobe Character Animator, as you'll see here, and you'll see a bunch of sample characters. So if you just click on one of these, it'll open up and you'll see a scene with this character, and he's copying, he's talking.
Hi, I'm a blue cat. I have hair that swings around, and I have blue.
Anyway, you'll notice there's not a lot going on here because we're in starter, beginner, baby mode. What you're going to want to do is go up to the top where it says starter, and we're going to say use pro because we're a pro. Now, when you're in pro mode, you'll notice over in the top left, we've got the name of the puppet, where it says puppet. If we right click on that, we can go to edit original. And this opens up that file in Photoshop, and we can see all the different layers and how it works. You'll see the left eye, the right eye, and then the different mouth positions. Everything we need to make our own character. So I went through all of this and made my own character using this layer structure, just replacing it with my own drawings here. It's all very straightforward. The only part that's a little bit difficult is just drawing mouths for the different sound effects. So if we click into the mouth folder here, you'll see there's a neutral, and that's just like the resting mouth where the character's not talking. And then there's the different sounds. Ah, D, eh. I'm not going to say them all. But anyway, you need to draw a different mouth for each of these. And you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want to be. You could also just make it like a flappy jaw thing. For example, I did a skull where all it is the skull head and then the jaw. And then when it's lip syncing, it's just flapping that jaw. Super easy. But if you want to do your own mouths like I did here, if you go back into Adobe Character Animator, on the top left, you'll see there's different modes. There's rig, record, and stream. The ones that you're mainly going to be using are rig and record. Rig is just where you're setting up your character. And record is where you kind of test it out and record some stuff with your character. So if we go into rig and we click on the layers over on the left, these are tied to your Photoshop layers. We can go down to talk contents, and in here you will see mouth, and these are all the different things. But when you click on mouth, if you look over here on the right, you will see a diagram with very simplified versions of what the mouth should look like when it's making those sounds. So you could use those as a guide. You can also just Google cartoon mouth lip sync mouths or Adobe Character Animator mouths, and you'll just get like a bunch of images with all the different shapes. So you could find one that's close to the style you're working with, or just make one up from scratch. All right, so let's quickly go through my character here before we bring it into Adobe Character Animator. You'll see we've got one main folder called Puppet, and you'll notice there's a plus before the name. The plus is something that tells Adobe Character Animator that the thing can move on its own and not affect other things or something like that. You can always add that when you're in Adobe Character Animator. But for example, within the head, the eyeballs themselves would not have a plus because they would not move independently of the head. But the pupils would have a plus because they're moving inside of, they move separate from the body. I can stay still and my pupils can move around. You know what I'm saying? So if we click into head, I have the ears, which I'm calling those things on the top of the head. I don't really know if they're ears, but listen. So we got a left ear and a right ear. And then below that, we got these little eyebrows. Those have pluses because they can move around, whereas the ears are going to be attached to the head, so they're not going to move on their own, I don't think. I don't know. We can figure that out in Character Animator. And then we've got two folders for each of the eyes. We've got right eye and left eye. Within the eyes, there's just three things. There's the eyeball itself, then the pupil, and then a blink state. Pretty straightforward. The only one in here that has a plus is that pupil. So the left eye is the same. And then I have this nose on its own layer. And then in the mouth is where we have the different mouth noises. So you'll notice some of these are folders and there's like a number in there. So what that is on the character that we referenced, they were using this a little bit of an advanced feature where you could have a sequence of frame by frame animation within one of the sounds. For example, if the character were saying, ah, you could make it so their mouth was like moving a little bit, so they're vibrating. I did not do it on this character because I wanted to keep things simple. So actually what I'm going to do is merge these all together and keep them simple because I'm making this file available for you and I don't want to confuse you. But if you want to do that kind of thing, you just name the folder that sound and then you put the sequence in there. It's a whole other thing. So we got all these mouths, and then let me merge the because the had one of those cycles in there too, and the woo. Okay, so those are all the mouths, and then we just have the face background. So that is everything within the head. If we go down to the body, just have the right arm, the right leg, the left arm, and the torso. That way I can control the arms and legs if I want to, all separate from the torso. So this is ready to bring into Adobe Character Animator, so let me show you how to do that. Okay, so I went ahead and started a new project in Adobe Character Animator. And there's nothing here because we don't have anything imported. So we're going to go to File, Import, and we're going to find the Photoshop file that we just made. Luckily, I know where that is because I'm so organized today. purpleguy.psd. All right, so you'll see nothing happened, except if you look at the top right, you'll see we've got purple guy there. So if we double click on that, you'll see our puppet opens up like this. And let's just go into record mode and see how our character is working without doing any work ahead of time. So we just go to the top left and click on record. And then what we do is just drag our puppet from this little project window down to the scene thing at the bottom. And you'll see our puppet's huge, but he's already lip syncing. And if I move around, he's all over the page. So first thing we want to do is size him down a little bit. So I'm going to go to scale in the transform option over here. Then we just scale that down till it fits the size we want. So one thing that you're going to want to do to make sure it's working properly before you start making adjustments is to calibrate your camera. So what you do is you just go over to where your camera is and then just click this calibrate button and you'll see it's going to map your face So now it's going to be able to lip sync better and can control my eyebrows a little bit better and, you know, just do some stuff. And the guy, he's walking and talking. So we can adjust how much things are affected by the way that we move with these different options over here. For example, the eyebrow tilt is at 20%, but if we brought that, let's say, up to 100, they're like vertical. So, you know, you can figure out what works best for your character. It's going to be different based on what kind of characters you're doing. We could adjust moving the eyebrows together, because maybe you could do a single eyebrow raise. Like that. Doing it. That's kind of cool. You have a little bit more control over the face. Kind of fun. The eyelid strength is like how quick it is to notice if it's blinking. The head tilt strength, like maybe you don't want it to turn that much. Well, we can control all these things. So first things first, let's go in and just sort of lock our character down so they're not just floating all over the place. So we click back into rig mode here. First thing I want to do is lock the feet. I just want to staple, I want to pin this monster's feet to the ground so he stops floating all over the place.
I'm a plane!
So what we're going to do is come over here to our leg. So we'll go to our left leg, which you'll see it's highlighted there. And I'm just going to take one of these thumbtacks and jam it in this thing's foot. And now I will go to the right leg, jam a thumbtack right in his foot. So now if we go back to record, you will see we can move all over the place, but our character is not floating. So it looks like, you know, it's not so crazy. Right away, the eyebrows are nuts. So if we just look at eyebrow strength here, I'm just going to bring this way down so they move a little bit, but they are not flying all over the page because that was a bit much. One thing that I like to get rid of is this head scale strength. It makes it so that like if you lean forward or backward, the head scale changes, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to put that at 0. Let's go back to rig mode and see what else we can do. So I'm going to click on the head here, and you'll see we've got this like origin point, and I'm going to bring this down here to where it connects with the body. And I'm going to do this for all of the body parts because it's going to make things easier to control them. So remember when I said if you don't put a plus in Photoshop, you can do it in Character Animator. So that plus thing is just these little crowns. So we can just add a crown to these ears since they didn't have them. And now I can put that origin point to where it connects with the head. And then I can do it to the other ear. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say wayo, wayo. We could make the nose move too, which might be fun. You know, maybe we will do that. Let's see what happens. Let's drag that origin point over where it connects to the face. And then we've got the arms here. We're going to drag that origin point here to where it connects with the body. And then the left arm, we'll drag that origin point where it connects with the body. So I think we forgot to put the crown thing on the head, and I think we want that so the head can move on the body, but I can't remember for sure. But there's only one way to find out. We just go to record and see what happens. So now our head is swinging all over the place, which is not necessarily ideal, but we have a little bit more control over the character. I think all we have to do is just fix the way that's connected. So let's come back to rig and let's see if we can connect the head in a better way. So let's try hinge. So it's hinged onto the puppet, and let's see what that does. Okay, so it's not much better, but let's change this head position strength. There we go. So if I brought the head position strength down, now I can tilt my head and move it around, and it has a lot of character, but it's not, you know, flying off of the body, and it looks like it's part of part of his head. Maybe we could add it a little bit more. Do this, that, see, okay. That's pretty good. So that's great. So one thing you'll need to do is just move all of the origin points for the different limbs of the body to where they connect with the body. So for example, here I have the right arm selected, and you'll see this origin point is just sort of floating over on the side here. I'm just going to drag it to where it connects to the body, and you'll see the body turn green. Did this for all the other ones so we don't waste time, but that is all good to go. So what we can do now to have control over the arms is add a dragger option that we can drag with the mouse. So if we come down here to the bottom, we've got this little dragger thing, looks like a compass, and we can just sort of click on the hand with the right arm, and then we can do one for the left arm like that. And now if we go into record, you will see that we can move these arms around. You'll see that they get a little crazy. We can stretch them out like wild, and that's not ideal, but it's cool that we can move the hands. I'm going to show you a couple things we can do to make this even better. So if we go back into rig mode, there's one thing that I don't fully understand, but I can just show you how to do it. I found this in a tutorial that helps to make it look more natural. So if we come up to the top left and click on the name of our character, purple guy here, we choose this option called Limb IK. I don't really know what it means, but what this does is it makes the limbs act in a more natural way. It makes it so we can't stretch them all over the place. It just makes them work a little bit better. So in order for this to make sense, we need to give Character Animator some information about the locations of things on our puppet. So after you've turned on this Limb IK thing, what we're going to do is click on these handle things and just add them to where the different points are on this model over here. So for example, we put one here at the wrist, and then we can tag that as the right wrist, and then we can find where the elbow would be, put one there, and we can tag that as the right elbow. And now we can go to the left arm, do the same thing. You'll notice I didn't do the shoulders yet because we're supposed to do those on the body. So what we'll do is just click on the body now, and you'll see there's already these green little dots. That is where we connected the arms to the body. So we're just gonna click on top of those and then just click on the shoulders here, like so. So now if we go into record mode again, we'll see that these things start working a little bit better. We can still kind of drag them, but it's not as wild as it was before. And we can control a lot of this stuff a little bit easier. But one thing that's happening is our arms look a little bit noodly, and we want them to have a little bit more structure. So let me show you how to do that. Let's go into rig mode real quick, and we're gonna select the right arm, and we're gonna put some bones in there. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see this one called the stick tool. And we're just going to draw some lines in between our points where the top of the arm and the bottom of the arm would be. So if we go back into record now, you'll see our right arm has a nice little bend. You'll notice the shoulder's doing a little bit of a weird thing, and that's based on how it's connected. So in order to fix that, we could just come back over here to right arm, and you'll see this option where it has attach style over here. If we change that to hinge, it's going to make it attach like a hinge. So if we go back to record, we can see that that looks quite a bit more natural. Boop, 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 boo. And now we have an arm that's, sort of makes sense. You'll notice that my hand goes behind the head, and that's just sort of the order of my layers. If you didn't want it to be that way, you could put that layer on top of the head, which I think I might do. As I mentioned, I didn't want to go into a crazy amount of detail for setting up your character, but I just want to show you a couple other fun things to do. One of them is called dangle. So let's click on this left ear, and then this last option down at the bottom is called dangle. We put a little dangle there. That's a dangle. We go to the right ear, put a little dangle on that. Put a little dangle. Now, if we go into record, you'll see we got some dangle happens. It's They're a little aggressive with the amount of dangle happening, but we can control that by going into physics, and we can sort of turn down the gravity strength. So now they're just sort of swinging around. It's, you know, a little nuts, but we can play around with how much things are affecting them. We could also say, okay, well, maybe we just want the ends to dangle and not the vertical part. We could use the bone things for that as well. So if we just come over here, we could put a little bone in this part, and then go to the other one, put a bone in that one, and let's see if that fixes it. So that's what I wanted. That's pretty cool. We could also put some wind in here too. We could turn on the wind, crank this up. These things could just be blowing. Okay, so that's like constant wind, and then there's wind direction, and then there's like variation. So that looks kind of crazy. But if we turn it down a little bit, it could be a little bit subtle. They're kind of just swinging around, doing a little bit of a bobble. Kind of okay. I don't know if I'm into the wind strength, but you know, maybe we'll just put a little bit on there, just a tiny bit. So they're just bobbling a little bit all the time. Kind of like it. Oh, so one thing I'm noticing is you'll see my eyes are sort of leaving the pupils a little bit, and that's an easy fix too. We just come down here and pull down the camera strength, and now the eyes won't go so far away as we're doing stuff. Boo, 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 boo. I am scratching my belly, scratching my belly. If you want me to show you some more fun and some more advanced things you can do with Adobe Character Animator, let me know and I'll make another video. But I didn't want this one to be overwhelming. I wanted it to be quick and easy so you could just see that, like, okay, I don't have to understand any of this, but if I just draw some mouths, they're going to work. Actually, you know what? Let me show you how simple this can really be by just having one mouth option on a skeleton head. All right? Okay, let's go. Okay, so I have a super simple skeleton character here, and if you look into the layers over here, you'll notice that we just have a head and then jaw, and it's just a jaw. No different mouths whatsoever. So in order to make this lip sync with just the jaw, we're gonna click over here at the top left, and we're gonna look for Nutcracker jaw. So if we click on Nutcracker jaw, and then we go over here to the right on this menu, you'll see we've got some options. I think we could do, no, let's just leave it at position. Let's see what this does. So if we go to record, we say, hey,
I'm a skull. What? I'm a gosh darn skull. I'm a skull.
see? You have it lip syncing and we didn't even do anything. It's just that one thing moving up and down. Pretty cool, right? Okay. All right, we got an unplanned addition to this video because I just learned something new and I got to share it with you because it's crazy. We're going to make this skeleton walk very easily. It's going to do it for us. So all we have to do is click over here at the top by our character, and we're going to add another thing just like when we did for the Nutcracker jaw. And we're going to choose walk. Here, we're getting a whole bunch of walk settings, but none of these are going to work until we tell Adobe Character Animator where all the parts of the body are. So what we're going to do is click on the body and add in some handles at specific points. So I'm going to select the left arm, and I'm just going to click on this little circle target button at the bottom, and I'm going to click on the wrist out here, and I'm going to tap on it on this thing so that it knows that's where it is. And then I'm going to find an elbow on this wonky arm shape, and I'm going to tap that in over there. And we're going to wait to do the shoulders because we're going to keep that on the torso. So now let's go down to the left leg, and we can tap right on this origin point here, and we can make that the hip joint. So on the left leg, we're going to add a point at the knee, then we'll do one at the ankle, and then the heel and the toe. I'm gonna do this for the other limbs. All right, so I got everything tagged properly right now. You'll see we can click on any one of these points, and you'll see that lights up where it goes on the whatever, the handle thing. I'm excited. Ready? All we did was just tell Adobe Character Animator where the parts of this body were. Let's go into record.
What the heck? Where am I even walking to right now? I am so upset. Look at me, hunched over, walking like this, and it actually looks really good. I'm surprised how good this actually looks. What the hell? I've been trying to make a walk sequence for a while now, and I fail, and this is great. We didn't even adjust any parameters.
All right, so Chris is dead. We killed him.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know,
Yeah, we killed
we
his ass.
still want you to watch more of his videos because we're trying to cash in on this YouTube money. You know what I'm saying? So you watch another video, maybe all of his videos. Here's 2 that maybe you should check out.
Yeah, he's dead. He's real dead. I punched him real good in the face. I punched his face hard.